Bitcoin continues to tell a story of volatility, resistance, support. Going into this weekend, things could not be any more crucial as Bitcoin sees new swing lows. Is there support? And what does resistance look like? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that like, hit the subscribe on the way in. Let's jump into the Bitcoin video. Bitcoin's a roller coaster right now, everybody. And this is a picture of the last bull market, because guess what? It was a roller coaster back then as well. So times have not changed. And I'm gonna start from the macro. We're gonna zoom into the micro, to the hourly charts. I'm gonna break down where Bitcoin is right now, what it needs to do. This is an amazing Reddit thread from 2017, in particular June 14th, talking about Bitcoin price. June 14th, 2017, in the middle of the last bull market. Here's a comment. I want to read this. I was thinking the same thing. Sure, there was a huge drop, but it's bouncing back very fast. I feel like the price drop was a combination of price correction and panic selling, and it got too low, which led to a buy of people buying more on the cheap, which drove the price back up. If the price gets pushed up too high, it could start this cycle all over again with people panic selling. Everybody, this is, I could end the video here. This very simple, and I'm a simple guy, I like this comment. This very simple comment explains the entire process of all Bitcoin cycles. That is it. And what's so cool right now is this person is saying it got too low, which led to a buy of people buying more on the cheap. I'm guessing they meant a bunch of people buying more on the cheap. Guess what? Right now, this cycle, it's not just people, retail buying on the cheap. It is institutions. There are big buyers on the cheap right now, and they're going to continue buying on the cheap right now. But this is the process, and here's a glimpse of it. This is the middle of June 2017, right here. So let me get this brush out. So that person commented probably like somewhere in this vicinity. I'm guessing it was within this wick. It just got crazy, got bought back up, and it was a red week, but obviously there was a nice bounce right here. But little did they know, the month to follow, more volatility to the downside, ultimately going to $1,800 Bitcoin, from the $2,500 area. That's a big swing for Bitcoin back then. But the case remains true. The correction, the buying on the cheap was occurring. And if they only knew what was getting ready to happen after that, a 10x basically for Bitcoin to $20,000. And here we are on the weekly this time around. And compared to June of 2017, around the same time in terms of what Bitcoin is doing in this bull cycle. And if only everybody knew what was ahead of Bitcoin right now, even if there's more downside on the short term in the month ahead, maybe there is. And that is a glimpse of the macro, everybody. That is what you need to pay attention to. And right now, it is a supply and demand story being told. One interesting thing to note is this. Bitcoin back then, and I want to just point this out. This is Bitcoin entering the Fibonacci resistance macro chart area. That's the bull market doors. From when it broke those bull market doors in December 2016 to this first area right here, we're talking about 14 weeks, and it's testing the same bull market doors. Now, I want to go back, and I want to look at Bitcoin breaking the bull market doors this time around. This is Bitcoin breaking the bull market doors in November of 2020. Now, same exact, 14 weeks later, Bitcoin is not testing these bull market doors. Bitcoin already breaking the 1618 line up here and just cruising into the bull market. So I just want to point out the velocity in which Bitcoin is moving in this bull market compared to last time. So Bitcoin's at $47,000 right now. And I think people are kind of like, why is Bitcoin not moving? Why is Bitcoin down? Bitcoin is flying, everybody. We just entered this bull market in November, and Bitcoin is just flying. And that's compared to the last bull market. So please keep that in mind. And as we just zoom out on the charts, you just see this is it. This is where we are. We're living in this area. I'm doing a video in this area, a red weekly candle. It happened a month ago, twice, 2 weekly red candles. And it happened pretty much 50% of the time when you zoom out on a weekly chart. So zoom out on the charts. Now, I'm going to dive into the micro right now. I know all of you are watching these zoomed in charts. I just spent 5 minutes talking about the zoomed out, but it's mainly because it's more important. We can talk about the micro charts though. This is what Bitcoin is doing right now. And this is important because we were talking about, I think it was in yesterday's video, basically this swing high that Bitcoin had to swing low. And we were analyzing and watching this resistance area. And Bitcoin hit this Fibonacci resistance perfectly multiple times over a day or two. And it failed. And that's a big sign for Bitcoin. And obviously short-term bearish for Bitcoin. And it played out really nicely, which is to say from that swing high around 52,000, we had a swing low to the $44,000 area. A 15% swing low just occurred on the 6-hour chart. And so now we need to dig even further into Bitcoin to really see what's happening. So in terms of, and before I go to that daily chart, actually, I want to chart this. And this is an area that we charted yesterday. This was that swing low back here to that swing high resistance. And we were talking about in yesterday's video, Bitcoin needing to see support at this green channel, this Fibonacci support area. And Bitcoin, you can see wicking below, trading below. It closed the 6-hour candle below before just cruising back into that support area. And here we are on the daily chart. Look at this. I mean, this is extremely critical area for Bitcoin. And I want to actually chart the price here. So that 618 line around 47,600 and the 786 line right around 46,400. We're still in it right now. And going into tonight, this is the area I'm watching. And this isn't a daily chart, but it gives a good illustration, at least for the short term, that support is kind of there. It's kind of there. But if we start zooming in now and we start analyzing the hourly chart, it gets a little ugly. This is the same support area right now charted on the hourly. And it really does give a really good illustration of how fragile this support area is. Bitcoin just breaking below multiple times. The daily chart, obviously, their support, the daily is holding fine above this. And right now on the hourly, Bitcoin trading just above that top line on the support area. But this is it. This is the area to watch for Bitcoin. And again, it's the 47,600 at the 618 and the 46,400 at the 786, that bottom line down here. That's the area of support on the very short term. But now we're starting to tell a story of resistance. And so this is what Bitcoin needs to accomplish in the very short term. And it's really, it's like every other time for Bitcoin. It needs to start putting in higher highs and higher lows. And it starts with really two key areas. So number one is this previous extremely micro, and this is like literally from today, swing high to swing low. Bitcoin is in it right now as I do this video. Let me remove the support area. And this is resistance now. A very short-term Fibonacci resistance, 786 to the 618. And that 618 is around 47,200. The 786 around 47,000. Let's just call it 800. Bitcoin's in it right now. But beyond that, on the very micro, I mean, Bitcoin needs to make a move to that area now, at least in the hours ahead. Bitcoin having kind of a micro move of resistance, but a little bit larger. So that's that ultimate swing high that we had back here to that swing low. And this is a very important resistance, 50,300 to 49,000. Now, I know it's just kind of like, okay, Dan, now you're just charting a bunch of prices and you're just saying Bitcoin needs to break these areas. And it is kind of like that is what I'm saying. But the reason why it's so important is because these are technical areas of resistance that do one very simple thing. They give us confirmation. And the confirmation lies within the fact that Bitcoin does these things when it's putting in higher highs, higher lows, or lower lows and lower highs. And so in this case, these resistance areas illustrate lower highs. And that is not what we want to see. So on the very extremely short term, if this is a lower high, it's just not, that's just short-term bearish. That's very short-term bearish. And same thing, if this is going to ultimately be a lower high, then that is short-term bearish. So the purpose of this chart, at least for me, and this is why I'm charting this for you, is one very simple thing. For me, mental sanity. This is the only thing that I have to watch that can say, all right, Bitcoin, like if I see Bitcoin breaking to 49,000, if I'm not looking at a chart and technical levels right in this area, I could be like, dude, Bitcoin's moving back up, nice. But if I'm understanding the area that is, I'm not so bullish just yet. That's not a confirmation for me. On the short term, that's fine. This is the first move we want to see, Bitcoin breaking this. But this area, 49,000 to 50,400, that area, if Bitcoin breaks above that area, then I start getting confirmed bullishness. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that swing high above this area, and then I'm looking for hourly closes above this area. I think a lot of you, and all of us really, we want to see Bitcoin just move bullish, and you want to hear the bullish news. But we can't get too short-term bullish unless Bitcoin's breaking these extremely small micro resistance areas to start getting a short-term reversal. And that's all we're talking about right now, a short-term reversal. And I think it's very possible for Bitcoin. We tracked a very similar move at just the mess of January. And we were trying to just track Bitcoin all back then. And this was a mess. Look at these two swing lows for Bitcoin. And I think I really think it was right in here. We were charting very similar Fibonacci resistance areas. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was kind of like this swing high here to that swing low. We were seeing if Bitcoin could break this little micro resistance, which is exactly where we are this time around. And then ultimately this swing high to the same swing low. Could Bitcoin break above this resistance, this green channel? And ultimately it did. And so here we are on the same exact type of chart in a very volatile hourly environment. If Bitcoin sees resistance at these areas, there could be more swing lows in store for all of us. And if we zoom out here on the chart, and we can actually go just to a weekly, we can just see the 20-week moving average being pulled up, currently just below 30,000. And ultimately, it's just the area you want to eye up always and just take note of, which is this area that Bitcoin just seems to revisit so often, even in bull markets. So a dip into the mid 30,000s ultimately is possible. And that is just 100% what I wanted to talk about in this video. We can start talking about bullish targets once Bitcoin breaks these very small micro resistance areas. But right now, this is a video about resistance, and this is a video about more swing lows, because it's just something I'm watching, and it's not because I think it's going to happen, but I'm waiting. I'm watching and I'm waiting for Bitcoin. Ultimately, if you look at the daily chart, the 50-day moving average sitting at around $41,000, a great sign for Bitcoin. Everybody, if you zoom out on the charts, Bitcoin is extremely, extremely bullish right now. You can see this last consolidation pattern around a month ago, we revisited and traded into that 50-day moving average. This time around, it's possible. So have some patience out there, but prepare for all of these different scenarios. And on the very short term, just watch to see if Bitcoin can break all of these areas. So those are my thoughts on Bitcoin right now leading into this weekend. I appreciate you cruising by. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that subscribe, hit that like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.